for parents of the XYZ generations, please understand that you need to talk about both aspects, your own success stories as well and your own failures as well. And you need to have a lot of open conversations at home. Otherwise, these generations step up and they are so curious. They want to try a lot of things. Sometimes these are very, very risky.
The question which I want to ask is that, okay, a lot of these things are being talked about. So Gayatri ma'am, you talked about, kind of working as a team and, trying to see the needs of the team rather than just looking at your own self. Now, a lot of talk is happening today about self-love, where it's being propagated that, you are first and rest everybody. They're not even saying that you are first and everybody falls later on, but they're just talking about the self. So what would be your reaction to that, number one? And number two, I have to ask you that, okay, this being a very innovative pattern, how does it really help to, okay, I mean, if we are the brain is so conditioned that we've been following certain things for over a period of time, how does drawing these patterns or these figures, help us to uncondition ourselves? And the third question which I have is that, I mean, what we say is don't judge people. Now, if you find that your child is kind of stealing things, then what do? You don't tell him that this is something which is wrong. So these are few aspects, which I just wanted to have your views. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for all the compliments. I think I'll start answering your questions from backward. When I said don't judge and we need connections and not corrections. See, if supposing your child or a child, I would prefer saying a child has stolen something, right? The first question that you need to ask is, do you want to talk about it? Because allow the child to speak and open up, right? Because we never know the other side of the story. And sometimes you can also ask, is it an accident or is it an incident? Because sometimes it can just be that impulse, I have taken the eraser away, or I have taken something from my friend and I have forgotten about it and I've come home. And I'm told that, I shouldn't be bringing things of others. Now, I haven't stolen. I have gotten it because I have forgotten to give it back. So always try to listen to the child first. The child has a reason why they have done it. First, listen to it. The second thing, when I'm already trying to tell him what is right and wrong, I think no child will open up. If the child is stealing, if the child is lying, I think first we need to understand our behavior as parents as to why is he hiding certain things, or why is his behavior different when he is outside of home and in home. That means there are two different people in him. Is it because of my fear that he's being a different person at home? Then he's not being his authentic self. The way of raising children is they should be the same wherever they are. That means we are listening to them as adults and they are explaining. The most important thing, certain aspects have to be corrected. Like if you understand that your child is indulging in compulsive stealing and you have noticed several such episodes, the first thing that you need to understand is he needs help outside of home. You can't help him because sometimes it's not just about your parenting. It also could be about a personality component or his own temperament. So he needs a mental health professional. Now, having said this, even when he is stealing, judgment, punishment won't help, because fear will change a person temporarily. It is not going to give you a permanent change. So he might act as though he is the most honest person when you're around. He might continue to steal when you're not around. So you should have that choice. Like, what is the value that I want to give my child? If honesty is your value that you want to pass on to your child, then you got to be patient. You got to be forming that connection with him, saying that I still trust you, and let's see how we can help you. I'm very sure when you give that space, any issue can be worked out. Coming back to the second question, art and how is this art activity relevant in breaking our conditioning? See, most of the times when clients come to me, they live in their thoughts, especially people who have a lot of emotional baggage are people who live in thoughts. So they kind of start saying that, a friend, oh, she said this to me. How dare she say something like this? How can she not understand? She was judging me. So I start going from one thought to another thought, and it is all there in the mind only. And I am so lost there without understanding how much of time I have spent just in the thought itself. So when you're actually training them to understand their thoughts I am a psychologist, so when I'm training them to understand their emotions, the first thing that they need is action. Thought won't help any longer because they've been doing it since a lot of time. Action helps. So when we ask them to write, most clients refuse to write down. They prefer speaking, and that's what you see, right? Whenever we feel emotional, we instantly pick up a phone and we prefer talking it out to someone. Now, that will make you victimize yourself. Instead, when I'm saying that let me sit and do something with my own pen in my own way, with the instructions, with the specific instructions which are given with each art activity, when you practice that, mind slowly takes in that instruction. Mind doesn't have extra ears, extra mouth, extra eyes. It's all the same for mind and me. So what I see, the same thing goes into it. It starts believing in it. What I tell it, it starts believing in it. So the whole concept of art and emotion is to train yourself over a period of time, that you don't have to run to people to talk about your emotions all the time. You can do it yourself. You can calm down yourself. And that's when we will become reliable. We rely on ourselves, self-reliance, and the mind slowly starts to pick up energy, and it thinks that life is in my control. People can trigger me, they can make me emotional, but I can choose to respond.
Can I just react to this? That okay, I mean, I do get what you are saying, but many of these things are theoretical, and unless you kind of practice them in a very disciplined manner, because the brain takes a lot of time to make new neural pathways, and there, unless you have somebody who's monitoring you and kind of maintaining that discipline on your own, it becomes very difficult. So maybe one will have to practice that. The other observation.
Can I stop you there? You there? See, you use the word neural pathways. I just want to present it in a very simplified way because it's a very big term. So neural pathways are nothing but connections that are formed in the brain based on what we experience on a daily basis, right? It's exposure. Mm-hmm. If I'm repeatedly exposed to the same thing, my brain forms a lot of connections with what I'm being exposed to. So when you actually practice a lot of things with discipline, because nobody can teach you discipline. Self-discipline is something that has to be within you, and it is a lifelong thing. It's not that you have achieved it. So with discipline, when you do something to yourself, when you indulge in action, I think action brings in confidence. At the core of confidence is action. There's no thought there. Until and unless you do an activity diligently with a lot of discipline, any form of expression cannot help you without discipline.
Agreed, ma'am. I just have one more observation on, you talked about that fear is something, which doesn't stay for very long. And I spent 38 years in multinational organizations as the HR head. And my last position was director HR in a very large organization. I was, I got into HR by accident as a management trainee. The company put me into HR, seeing my personality, or they make an assessment who goes in where after the 1 year training period. But then it became life for me, and I was not there to earn money or to. It was not a profession for me, but it was more of life for me. And I had some wonderful experiences of bringing about great changes in very senior people. But at the end of 38 years, I now feel that unfortunately, without fear, things don't work. I mean, it's sad to say that, but then that's the truth. It's the truth everywhere. And I have whether it's maids, whether it is people outside. After that, I was also teaching MBA students in a university, more out of my commitment to give back to the younger generation. And I have seen it everywhere now. I mean, if you're good to people, people are going to take advantage. People are going to. So, I mean, I'm not saying that, okay, just because it's that. But then, if you don't use that, you tend to be exploited all over, and many times the objective is not achieved. It's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate, but especially in our country, it is very true. Of course, it's true worldwide, but in our country, it's very true. Jab tak, that slave mentality still persists, which the British had left. Just an observation.
Sir, can I answer you? I think I just have to give you a little extension to what I have spoken. You were talking about fear and punishment. It is needed at sometimes. We can't say we can't, but it has to be used with a lot of precision. Like I have to be clear when I want to use this. And being good doesn't mean that you don't have boundaries. You need to have boundaries, and being kind doesn't mean that you don't have boundaries. So you can be kind and good to people. You need to be good and kind to yourself also. So when you feel that your goodness is being taken for granted, you need to speak up. You need to draw boundaries. You have to do it in your way which suits you. Again, negotiate. Other aspect, there's a difference between discipline and punishment. Discipline kind of makes the person think. Punishment instills fear. So a lot of measures that we use are more of punishment measures. But if we want to discipline them, we need to make them understand the why. Like why are they being made to do something like this or act in a particular way.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the questions.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello, Tanmay.
My question is that, ma'am, this thing is relevant when person is in this art is relevant when person is in anxiety or in lot of stress, ma'am.
Okay. First of all, thank you so much for bringing up these conditions. Yes, art is very, very relevant and calms a person who's under a lot of anxiety and stress. And I think individually our team has seen, I mean, we have worked on a lot of people or my own clients who've been given art and they kind of calm themselves down and it works on them. But art is not just only for people who are under stress or who are anxious or who are depressed or who are obsessed. Art is also for all of us to kind of give an expression. Art is a form of expression. I think that is important for us to understand, because if you see the current education system, we're all running behind the mainstream subjects, and art is hardly practiced in schools, and we kind of see a lot of schools which don't even emphasize on sports. So I think as we need to bring about the change in our education system itself, where art, sport, the physical activity, NCC, whatever, everything should be told that it is important, because a healthy mind needs a healthy body. They can't exist in isolation. So the whole concept of doing the loop drawing is we are trying to redefine ourselves, because always remember, we have been parented a particular way. We have been raised a particular way. It is easy to blame. It is easy to say that I wasn't given freedom or I didn't have this, but how long, right? At some point we need to reparent ourselves. I really love the word reparenting, because the choice is in our hands. We can write it the way we want to, and reparenting happens all our life, and we don't have to like consult with anybody. Now, having said this, most of us don't want to reparent ourselves and continue to blame, because it's not easy. We are asking for freedom, but freedom always comes with responsibility, right? So only when we are ready to accept our mistakes, ready to allow ourselves to make mistakes, accept our mistakes, and work on ourselves, I think that's when we will be redefining ourselves all our life. You don't have to do it in one day. You have an entire lifetime to redefine yourself, and that's what is the beauty. The more and more you redefine yourself, your personality becomes so pleasing and you become so attractive to people around you that you kind of end up inspiring people around you, and they will also start redefining themselves. That's the beauty. The second aspect, what you value most in you, this is especially for generations X, Y, Z, because they are exposed to so much of content on social media. There are so many platforms from which they mindlessly take a lot of information into themselves, and they start believing that it is the reality. If they see a friend if they see that the friend is doing really well in her academics or in her career, or if they see that someone owns a lavish car or someone has a lavish lifestyle, they think that that is their complete life. That is how the friend leads their life completely. And most of what is seen on social media is not the complete truth, guys. It's just one aspect. So you really need the real connections offline. You really need to talk to people. You need to network. You need to find out the stories. Don't just go by the success stories. There are always a lot of struggles and failures and hard work behind each success story. I guess you need to talk more about it. And for parents of the XYZ generations, please understand that you need to talk about both aspects, your own success stories as well and your own failures as well. And you need to have a lot of open conversations at home. Otherwise, these generations step up and they are so curious. They want to try a lot of things. Sometimes these are very, very risky. So why not open up conversations at home? Nothing is treated like a taboo. Everything can be talked about, provided we are ready for it. And the last one for emotional self-care, and the most important one, start the art of practicing no. It has to be both ways. Like when I am saying no, I also need to receive no. It is mutual. It's not that, I am saying no to a lot of things and I'm not allowing people to say no. So it is both ways. So start saying no to simple things. Like, for example, a few of my friends are meeting today. Today is a Saturday. I'm working, but a couple of them are meeting today. So one of my friends texted me like, Gayatri, why don't you join? And I'm like, I have work. So instantly she's like, you're always working. So that's a judgment. But then I'm okay, because I say that, for this Saturday, I can't make it. I'll see if I can make it for the next Saturday. Done. So start saying no. Don't take the emotion from the conversation. See how you can negotiate. So I said no for today, but I said I'm ready next week, right? So it's all about all about practicing no, and practicing the art of negotiation while not soaking a lot of emotions like cotton. As part of self-care, it is important to have a vision for yourself. Whenever you work, the organization has a vision for itself. So you in yourself is an organization, because you have a lot of systems working within you, like, the respiratory system, everything is a system, everything is so organized. So you need to treat yourself like an organization, and you need to have a vision for yourself. Where am I heading? What am I doing? Because time and again, our goals change. When we are redefining ourselves, our goals change. Like if I'm a homemaker, married for the last 13 years, the goals that I've had when I stepped into this relationship is completely different from what I have right now. So I have to redefine my goals. Second, I might not have the same vision that I have had for myself a couple of years back. Like a couple of years back, I was called a timetable. I was made fun of, the time ticking thing that I had. I still have it, but now I tell myself that why am I going so hard on myself, and I have to don't have to do the goal ticking all the time, because at 40, I'm living a dream life that my 20-year-old self wanted. So I have achieved what a 20-year-old self of mine wanted. So I can go easy on myself, enjoy myself, celebrate myself. So now I have redefined my goals, redefined my values. Earlier, discipline as a value was very, very important. Now I'm okay if, I'm not, I don't reach office at time. I'm okay. I apologize, but I'm okay. If I'm actually not doing or finishing times as work as per my timelines, I'm fine. I can just extend those timelines a little and go easy and enjoy my work. So it's all about defining what values are important to you and what values you want to uphold. So if you actually see this vision board is just for the values that are very dear to you. And this is how I place my values vision board. So kindness, being genuine, honesty, loyal, responsible, these are something that I have already and I want to have them because they are very, very important for me. But if you see what I have written on the petals, these are something which I'm still working on. Like I'm not always a very calm person. I still have times when I go anxious. Like, even when I started this session, I was a little anxious because a 2-hour thing is being done in a 40-minute timeline or a 1-hour timeline, and what is done most of the time offline is now done online because we want to introduce this concept. So there is that anxiety. I'm not calm all the time. I tend to live in the future. I tend to think a lot about the future, so I'm not all the time in the now. So that is something that I have to yet make a value and yet bring it into myself. I often become very guilty, especially when the home front is not prioritized or there's some mess happening in the home front. I tend to instantly become guilty and I tend to take a step back from career. So the center circle are the values that I already have. They're constant within me and they're very important to me. They define me. The ones that are there on the petals, I either choose to have them within me or I can let go. I can allow them to wither away. Like let go. I want to let go of certain things. Like certain people want to walk away from my life. Beautiful. I can't do anything. I can't hold them. I need to allow them to go away. They'll come back when they want to. Empathy. Sometimes I'm not empathizing with myself. I'm empathizing with a lot of people, others around me, but I'm not able to empathize myself. So I need to empathize myself. So this time I want to put empathy as a value in me when I am able to empathize with myself. It's an instruction to me that it has to start from self. The same thing, like confidence, it still needs to be worked up. I'm confident in certain areas, not in certain areas. I have my doubts in certain areas. So as a value, it's still not there as a constant in me. I need to work upon. So you need to use value vision board to understand what is very dear to your heart, what defines you. Like, I want Gayatri to be known by those qualities in the center. For what are there on the outside, the work is in progress. And always remember, there is a board here. The work is always in progress. We are never complete. We are never done and dusted. We are always work in progress, right? Okay, vision board is a concept of distinguishing between your dreams and goals. And Anila, I'm answering your question in this, like how do we prioritize? Most of us have dreams. Few of us make them goals. Dreams are something which we want to have. We have them when we are asleep, and by the time we wake up, they are gone, right? So don't sleep over your dreams. They are very important for you. That's why you're dreaming about them, right? So put them on paper, see how you want your life to look like, and start making a plan for it, make a promise to it, and start achieving it. That's when it becomes your goal. So Anila, how do I prioritize? If you actually see Viveka's vision board, we are giving our own examples because we don't believe in preaching as a team. Like Roshini Art Team, the three of us don't believe in preaching. We only believe in showing you something that we practice. So we do it on ourselves first, and then we kind of share it with you. So if you actually see Viveka's vision board here, it describes her. Like she described herself as someone who would want to spend a lot of time in nature. She's a trained yoga practitioner. So she's put yoga there. She's a person who believes in practicing gratefulness, gratitude. And she's an excellent photographer. That's a hobby. So that's how she's defined herself. So time and again for women, we tend to lose ourselves in the multiple roles and responsibilities that we have. So this is a reminder for Viveka that I have photography as a hobby. Am I making time for it? I love to spend time in nature. Am I stepping out and I'm actually creating time for it? So your vision board actually gives you a vision for every day. It is not for an year or for a life. It is for every day, because always remember, if you want to achieve your goals, this day is added into that 1 year, 365 days, and this day is part of that 365 days. So this is a reminder on an everyday basis as to how close I am getting to my vision. Am I making time for what makes me happy? This will bring prioritization in place, because this will bring in a lot of structure as to what is close to your heart, what defines you, Anila. So if you can just stand before your vision board, like create one first, stand before your vision board every day, and then tell yourself, how am I really making time for it? Priority happens slowly, and you need other tips and techniques as well, which can be dealt with later, but this is like the starting step. Teja, I want you to take over.
Yes, sure. This is another vision board, and I would love to show my vision board as well. I love to make something in 3D. We can make digital vision board as well as, feel it vision board. I just did it with all the magazine photographs and my own photographs. So these are my small vision board for the 2023. So my health, regarding the health, I have prioritized, and the travel, work, family, and this cute little pocket which you see, because vision board is like open for everybody, but there are certain things which are personal to me. So I have created a small pocket which is closed, and certain things I'll be sharing my vision, my ideas. I don't want anybody else to know. So I'll put it in that pocket. The bigger goals in the bigger pocket, and I have created a smaller pocket also. If you can see, a smaller and the short term ones I'll be storing in this. So this is one. And recently I've been to a travel to Ladakh, so I really like this flags thing there. It got a very beautiful meaning, and I'm very touched and moved with that. So I've added to that also to my, and I want to read books, and I want to resume my swimming and practice more four-wheeler driving, and I want to do skydiving also, which I've also included it. Whenever I see, it reminds me that, okay, these are still in the pending list. I'm almost in the July, so I have to finish before this turns into 2024. So this is my small cute vision board. So you can make vision board digitally or with using all that material around you. So that's all from me.
For the audience, you can actually join us on our offline workshops at Roshini. We are a bunch of creative people. We have a lot of things like this, and you can learn doing your vision boards with us. We enjoy creating vision boards for you, because that's the little stamp or footprint that we leave in people's hearts. So you can start with us. You can reach out to us. We would help you doing your vision boards, and just explore yourself as well.